Hello, my name's Teddy Hayduck, and I'm going to be presenting some information about the Abu Nidal terrorist organization. As far as a brief history goes, they were founded in 1974 when a man by the name of Sabril al-Banna split away from the Palestinian Liberation Organization. This was the group that was basically in power at that time. He was much more extremist than them. His goals consisted of, in their eyes anyway, pretty ridiculous things, and in the eyes of, most normal people. Um, Anyway, he started this organization and they conducted kidnappings, bombings, assassinations, hijackings, things like this for almost 25 years. He was found dead, Banah was, in Iraq in 2002, where he had lived his previous, maybe 10 years of his life. Um, Back to his goals and objectives. The main one was to eradicate the entire nation of Israel and any Israeli people anywhere around the world. They wanted to do that by initiating a Muslim revival worldwide as well. So that's a pretty hefty goal. However, he did have other things on his mind too. He really opposed anything that the United States or any other Western nations were doing in the Middle East as far as peace talks and things like that. And he even opposed modern Arab regimes in places like Egypt that were, in his eyes, in cahoots with more westernized civilizations. Um, as far as the structure of the organization goes, it was pretty bland. There was a select few at the top who basically ran everything, and then under that, there was basically an absence of a middle sector, and what you had was 500 and 550 armed gunmen that essentially were guns for hire that could, perform tasks, within hours of someone deciding something needed to get done. Um, Banah did run the ANO like a tyrant. Um, he accused his own wife of being a CIA agent at one point. He often made members of the ANO write down their entire life story by hand, and he would verify it multiple times a year, so they'd be rewriting and rewriting all the time, which was pretty pointless. But you can definitely see things, like schizophrenia and paranoia as parts of his personality. Um, as far as government assistance goes, there was plenty of it. There were working operations in Syria and Lebanon almost the entire time, and he actually relocated to Iraq, where he lived for a number of years as well. Um, so basically, it came to the attention of the United States State Department um, that these activities were going on, and they weren't very happy about it. So they implemented policies that would hold nations responsible for helping terrorists in any way, shape, or form. Now, as a result, two things happened. The first one was that nothing changed. The organizations, or excuse me, the nations that were supporting the terrorist organizations continue to support them very blatantly and obviously. And the other thing that happened was that the terrorist organizations had to get a little bit more creative with the way that they handled their money and the way they moved their money and guns and ammunition and things around the Middle East. One of the ways they did that was they started up front companies that would act as local businesses when really they're millions of dollars are flowing through there on a daily basis, as well as guns and things like that. And that would essentially hide where the money was coming from. So the State Department got word that this was happening, and they weren't happy at that either. So they shifted the targets of their policy goals to essentially hold individuals accountable for their actions, which means uh, if there's a bombing at a local theater or whatever, and the guns and the money and the people can be traced back to one specific person that provided, uh, excuse me, that provided or facilitated that in some way, that one person can be held accountable and charged with things like crimes against humanity, which are uh, pretty hefty. Um, so our result is the Violent Crime and Enforcement Act of 1994, which in theory was a great law, um, except for the fact that it was severely watered down in the last couple of minutes of, I should say, last couple hours of deliberation. Basically, it made it very difficult for investigators to pursue targets and to actually get things underway with warrants and whatnot. So that left a lot of people very unhappy. And all of this was rectified in 1996 with the Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act. Um, and essentially that made it much more easy to start investigations and get it going and things like that. And that's currently uh, the bulk of the legislation in place now when it comes to terrorist organizations. So with that, I think that's all I have, and thank you for your time.